I had been counting down to my birthday for weeks, not for the gifts or the celebration, but because this year felt different. My wife, Emily, and I had been together for 12 years, and I had envisioned a milestone birthday that would be memorable, not just for me, but for us as a couple. I had planned a quiet, intimate dinner, surprises that reflected my love and appreciation, and hoped to create memories that would last a lifetime. I never imagined that the day would end with betrayal. The morning started pleasantly enough. Emily wished me a cheerful, happy birthday, though something in her tone seemed off, a subtle distance that I couldn't ignore. I brushed it aside, attributing it to preoccupations at work or perhaps minor stress. But a small seed of unease had been planted, one I would soon regret not noticing sooner. By mid-afternoon, I noticed she was unusually busy on her phone, excusing herself with vague explanations about errands and tasks. My curiosity grew into concern, though I still held on to hope that nothing serious was amiss. I had trusted her for years, believed in our shared life, and assumed that our bond would weather minor lapses in attention. But the foundation of trust, as I would soon discover, had already begun to crumble. The first blow came when I received a message from Emily, brief and emotionless. "I need to talk. Tonight." My heart sank. I tried to prepare myself mentally, imagining worst-case scenarios, but nothing could have readied me for what was about to unfold. When she arrived home that evening, I noticed a coldness in her demeanor, a deliberate distance that felt like a wall between us. Sitting across from me at the dining table, she avoided eye contact. "Jack, I can't do this anymore," she began. My birthday, meant to be a celebration of life and love, had become the stage for a confrontation I hadn't anticipated. "I've decided to cancel our marriage." The words landed like a sledgehammer. 12 years of shared life, dreams, and promises reduced to a single abrupt declaration. I felt a mix of shock, disbelief, and anger. My birthday, which should have been a joyous occasion, was transformed into a crucible of betrayal. I struggled to speak, my mind racing for understanding, for reasons, for any semblance of explanation. Emily continued, her tone calm but firm. She had been unhappy, she said, distant and unfulfilled. She claimed that she had been considering this decision for months, and that my birthday was as good a time as any, to be honest. She did not express remorse, only a detached rationality that stung far more than anger. The emotional impact of hearing that someone I had devoted my life to had concluded our marriage on the day meant to celebrate me was devastating. But in that moment, a surge of clarity replaced the shock. I realized that while I could not control her choices, I could control the consequences. Emily had expected me to react with despair or pleading, to allow her to walk away with minimal disruption. She had underestimated the precision and decisiveness I was capable of when confronted with betrayal. I calmly informed her that she would face immediate consequences. I called a close friend and legal counsel, documenting her declaration and establishing a clear record of her intent. The legal groundwork ensured that our shared assets, responsibilities, and any future claims would be addressed equitably, leaving no room for manipulation or unilateral advantage. Emily's expectation that she could cancel our marriage with minimal impact was already unraveling. Next, I implemented practical measures. Shared accounts were separated, personal belongings were inventoried and secured, and boundaries were firmly established. I ensured that every action was calculated, precise, and immediate. The birthday that had been intended for celebration now became a turning point, a moment in which betrayal met with accountability. The social repercussions were swift. Friends and family, who had been unaware of underlying tensions, quickly learned of Emily's actions. The narrative she had assumed she could control, of a quiet, discreet separation, was exposed through transparency and documentation. The shock of her decision, coupled with the immediate and decisive response, created a ripple effect that highlighted the seriousness and consequences of her actions. Emotionally, I navigated the storm with care. Anger, hurt, and disappointment were natural, but I chose to channel those emotions into measured action rather than impulsive retaliation. This approach ensured that my response was effective, lasting, and demonstrably fair, emphasizing accountability over vengeance. Emily's surprise at the firmness of my reaction became evident. Her expectation that I would crumble had been utterly misplaced. In the days and weeks that followed, the separation process unfolded with clarity and structure. Legal counsel facilitated the equitable division of shared property, the establishment of clear boundaries, and arrangements that respected both parties' rights and responsibilities. Emily's attempts to minimize the consequences of her choice were met with documented evidence, consistent action, and unwavering boundaries. Her decision to cancel our marriage on my birthday had triggered a chain of events she could not contain. As the immediate crisis settled, I focused on personal recovery and rebuilding. The emotional devastation was real, but it became a catalyst for growth, reflection, and renewed focus on my values and priorities. I strengthened relationships with supportive friends and family, reinvested in personal goals, and cultivated resilience. The birthday that had begun in heartbreak gradually became a marker of empowerment, a reminder that betrayal, while painful, can be met with clarity, control, and strategic action. Months later, Emily faced the long-term consequences of her decision. Socially, her reputation was affected by the abruptness and timing of her announcement. Emotionally, the isolation and reflection that followed highlighted the weight of her choice. Practically, she was required to navigate financial and legal realities that were now firmly structured against unilateral advantage. The instant consequences, though implemented calmly and strategically, underscored the seriousness of her actions. Reflecting on the ordeal, several lessons became evident. Betrayal, especially when timed to inflict maximum emotional impact, can be devastating. Yet, decisive, measured action transforms vulnerability into strength, chaos into structure, and heartbreak into clarity. Emily's choice to cancel our marriage on my birthday was met not with hysteria, but with a response that emphasized accountability, fairness, and protection of my rights and dignity. The experience also reinforced the importance of personal resilience. Emotional devastation, while unavoidable in such circumstances, does not have to dictate long-term outcomes. By maintaining composure, documenting actions, and setting clear boundaries, I ensured that the betrayal had consequences, and that my life could continue on a stable, controlled path. Years later, I look back on that birthday with a mixture of reflection and empowerment. The memory of Emily's abrupt declaration remains vivid, but it no longer carries the power to destabilize me. The instant consequences I implemented that day, legal, practical, and social, ensured that betrayal met accountability and that personal integrity was preserved. Ultimately, the story is not about revenge in the emotional or vindictive sense. It is about clarity, decisive action, and the assertion of boundaries in response to betrayal. Emily's expectation that she could disrupt my life with minimal repercussions was quickly and effectively countered. The birthday that had begun with devastation became a turning point, a demonstration of agency, resilience, and the transformative power of strategic response to personal betrayal. The lesson is clear. Choices, especially those that impact shared lives and responsibilities, carry immediate and long-term consequences. When confronted with betrayal, measured and decisive action not only restores balance, but also ensures that emotional and practical realities are aligned with fairness and accountability. Emily's actions, though intended to disrupt, ultimately reinforced these truths and highlighted the importance of foresight, clarity, and resilience in navigating life's most challenging moments.